The DS was home to a lot of great games. What had first started its life as a system based entirely around a single gimmick and was expected to fall quickly to its main competitor with significantly more horsepower, became one of the best portable systems of all time. But at the launch, developers were still struggling with what they could do with the system, fixated on how they could take advantage of the uniqueness of the system and still make games that sold well. And Feel the Magic XYXX is a very experimental game in the way launch titles often are. It's kind of weird to think of Sega as an experimental company these days, but there was definitely a time, even after the Dreamcast stopped being produced, where they were still screwing around with any number of different ideas, not just pumping out endless Sonic games and buying up other developers. That said, Feel the Magic isn't as original as it might appear. Sure, the game finds a lot of really neat ways to use touch controls, but at its heart, it's kind of just a slightly sexier WarioWare. The story of the game involves the player character chasing after a woman they're interested in, which of course they achieve by joining some sort of stunt performance troupe, and engaging in an increasingly silly set of activities that are presented to the game as quick minigames that all use the touchscreen or mic, or both, in one way or another. But even in the way that it uses the new-at-the-time capabilities of the Nintendo DS, Feel the Magic definitely feels like a launch title. Despite its awesome, quirky nature and its inventive, if a bit gimmicky use of the touchscreen and mic, there just aren't a ton of mini-games. The story mode is extremely short, and there's basically zero replayability to it. But the most damning problem the game has is that none of the individual mini-games are all that memorable or interesting, or at least the actual playing of them isn't. With WarioWare, I can talk about all sorts of weird gameplay mechanics they've used over the years to great effect, as well as the odd scenes that often accompany them. But with Feel the Magic, while I can recall a few of the more memorable sequences, the mechanics of the minigames themselves escape my mind about as soon as I'm done playing them. And so it is that this game's ultimate weakness, its biggest problem, isn't really the fault of the people who made it. Feel the Magic is exactly what you want from a launch game. Something that can show up what the new system is capable of, what makes it impressive or unique compared to all the other offerings on the market, and Feel the Magic does a very good job of that. But as a game to go back to pick up and play now, there are so many minigame collections that completely and utterly surpass this one, both on the DS itself and elsewhere. And the game's somewhat unique style isn't enough to save it from an ultimate fate of obscurity. If you do fondly remember this game, however, I highly recommend picking up one of the WarioWare games for the DS, or even Rhythm Heaven, minigame collections that both hold up significantly better. Every Monday, I look at a game that's at least 10 years old, what I would consider to be retro, and I see if it's held up today, if it's still worth playing now. If you like that idea, be sure to subscribe so you can see the latest videos. If you like this video in particular, be sure to hit that like button, and thanks for watching.